Over the past 75 years, more than 10,000 chemicals have entered our food supply, but the EU allows just 300 additives. At Thrive Market, we prioritize quality, banning over 1,000 ingredients found in conventional grocery stores. Our Healthy Swap scanner helps you find better versions of your pantry essentials without the junk, dyes, or fillers, and everything is delivered right to your doorstep. So shop at a grocery store that actually cares about your health at thrivemarket.com/getstarted for 30% off your first order and a free $60 gift.
You're listening to Late Night Radio on the SHR Media Network. Caution, there will be mature themes explored and potentially adult language used. If conservatarian words, phrases, certain concepts, or rhetoric offends you, tune out now.
Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike?
You magnificent bastard, I read your book.
I drink your milkshake.
How dare you?
I call that bold talk for a one-eyed fat man.
Fill your hand, you son of a bitch!
Captain.
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 Captain. Captain.
Captain.
Captain.
Captain.
Captain.
Captain.
Captain.
No, not yet. Not yet. Don't pass out on me yet.
Of course you realize this means war. Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is Thursday night. It is August the 6th, the year of our Lord 2020. Welcome to BZ's Berserk, Bobcat, Saloon radio show, where I am broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, always spelled with a K, a mere 2 miles east of the locus of evil on the entire left coast, the Bill Mill, the belly of the beast, the Capitol building, in downtown Sacramento at 10th and L Streets, where late at night you can hear the death of common sense. And at the end of the show, when I exit the plush, resplendent, sumptuous, and palatial SHR Media studios, I'll be smelling the odoriferous stench of sulfur, brimstone, and evil emanating from downtown Sacramento. Be forewarned, what you're about to hear for the next 2 hours consists of my opinion and no one else's. Because of the fear porn that has gripped this nation, the saloon is no longer open, but I am serving stiff drinks. Facts, history, logic, rationality, proportion, context, tradition, intent, and common sense out the back door. Gotta remind you also that we don't water our drinks just like we don't water our conversation. Politics, religion, crime culture, economics, race, sex, science, law. We talk about it all here at the Saloon, where the speech is free, but the booze is not. This is 2020. I am done with bipartisanship or compromise. This is the new age of modern political warfare. Because make no mistake, we are at war. It began with a soft coup against President Trump, which means it's a soft coup against you and me. And a United States that has lost its mind like it has today is ripe for two things, essentially. Utter capitulation, or essentially the instigation of a second civil war. You guys are going to be able to choose, especially on November 3rd. Vote red in November and forever. The choice is binary. Chaos, anarchy, versus the rule of law. And I dare say it gets down to nothing more complicated than this. Essentially good versus evil. You and I both know that it won't be Joe Biden who is controlling the United States or directing the United States if Biden still is around at that point and wins on November 3rd. Because as we all know, there are elements in play right now that are making sure that every corrupt piece of legislation, movement, etc., has been instigated so that there is no way Donald Trump can win a second term. They didn't see it coming the first time. They don't see it coming now. They absolutely don't see. Well, let's make a prediction. Now, the debate issue has come up. Really, I have to ask you, seriously? Do you think Joe Biden is not even going to not go into a room with President Trump? I think that's pretty much a given. But wouldn't it be nice? But number two, he's going to agree to various debates. He, not meaning he, his handlers, will agree to debates until at the very last moment, there will be some kind of an action or an inaction that won't allow him, in terms of his personal safety, to debate. And it will be all about his safety. Wouldn't you ask yourself, wouldn't you pay money to watch a debate between President Trump and Joe Biden? Oh, hell, I would. I call tonight the best of the rest. A lot of stuff that I just haven't been able to get around to. Things that have been going on that I wanted to make everybody aware of, but because I had really good guests on, I had a number of special reports, I just haven't been able to get to this stuff. Thanks to being in Facebook chat. Welcome to James Davidson in Facebook chat and also in SHR chat. Real Mike Pasqua as opposed to the fake Mike Pasqua. So thanks for the real one being in here tonight, because we can tell the difference between the two. When it says real, it really is him. The Alaskan, Sergeant Booker, and one viewer who is masked, and we're not going to unmask them here tonight. I have to start with this, and I preface the show, if you heard, that there will be some adult language used. I played this probably... Oh, Whiskey Dale. Good to see you in chat. Oh, I should also say, you can't see it, and I've got the second cam dedicated to... Oh, Sean, Sackhead Sean, may be here in the second hour if he deigns to get up. He's had a long, tough day of drinking, and so he may or may not be lugubriously awake for the second hour. It's just one of those wait-and-see things. He may be here, he may not be here. We'll have to see. What I was saying is, because this is a late-night talk show, it's 8:09 on the left coast in Pacific time. It's 11:09 on the East Coast. In Bolivia, it's 17:49 and 223.7, paragraph 2, Grote Cluster 3. 0.7, I believe it was 0.6, now it's 0.7. in Bolivian time, I've never been able to understand Bolivian time. Maybe you guys do. But because I've forewarned you, I still want to play this. This guy, I've played him before, but he's too damn good not to just play him every once in a while again. This guy and many others like him are going. Let me make a prediction right now, and it might come out of my butt. I'm going to make a wag right now that come November 4th, we'll wake up and discover that President Trump got a second term, that President Trump won the Electoral College, might be a squeaker, but also mostly because President Trump will win the popular vote. I've got a very interesting article by Byron York of the Washington Examiner coming up. And before I get to that, I have some great audio cuts that I'm going to play for you. This guy, like I said, and others like him, is why I'm predicting Trump is going to win the popular support. He's going to win the popular vote. Oh, sorry, we're having trouble playing this. Okay. Well, maybe now you won't. Go.
I can't believe you got to explain this shit to these brain-dead ass Negroes. Well, don't your Black Lives Matter? Yeah. And you know why? Because I fucking say that it matters. See, I don't need to go out in the street with a sign screaming this shit like a fucking idiot and throwing a temper tantrum like a damn child. Also, I'm not even remotely worried about being killed by the police. You know why? Come here, let me tell you. Because I'm not a fucking criminal and I don't go around committing fucking crimes. Also, if I do interact with the police, guess what else I don't do? I don't fight the cops and I don't resist arrest like a fucking moron. I don't know why they always killing us. Really? See, nobody cares about your fucking skin color. Nobody gives a damn about your brown skin. See, it's your fucked up shitty behavior is why people don't like you. That's why I don't like you. You dumb stupid ass motherfuckers.
One day, that guy is going to come out of his shell and tell us what he really thinks. And this occurred today. Welcome to Josh in Facebook chat. Josh Kemp in Facebook chat. Good to see you here. And SHR. Real Mike is in SHR chat. Whiskey Dale, the Alaskan, Texas Dan, and one viewer. And hey, Texas Dan, haven't seen you for a while. Sometimes there are audio cuts that are bestowed upon you as gifts from God. This is one of those cuts tonight. And I'm going to play it for you and then ask you a question about it with regard to Democrats and Republicans thereafter. This is Vice President Joe Biden and Errol Barnett from CBS News. You may have heard this, but I can't not play this, okay?
You've responded that you're constantly tested in effect because you're in situations like this on the campaign trail. But please clarify specifically, have you taken a cognitive test?
No, I haven't taken a test. Why the hell would I take a test? Come on, man.
Come on, man.
That's like saying you, before you got in this program, if you take a test where you're taking cocaine or not, what do you think, huh? Are you?
Oh, okay, stop. The reason you haven't heard that played by the American media maggots is because Joe Biden, if you're not aware, Errol Barnett is black. Joe Biden just said, comparatively speaking, because you're a black guy, you should have to take a test for cocaine before you get on the air. Joe Biden can't not be a racist.
What do you say to President Trump, who brags about his tests and makes your mental state an issue for voters?
Joe Biden's laughing.
If he can't figure out the difference between an elephant and a lion, I don't know what the hell he's talking about.
Okay. He can't figure out the difference between an elephant and a lion? It doesn't stop.
Did you watch that? Look, come on, man. I know you're trying to goad me.
Twice.
But, I mean, I'm so forward-looking to have an opportunity to sit with the president or stand with the president in debates. There are going to be plenty of time. And by the way, as I joke with him, you know.
Okay, remember, now this is Joe Biden, just said today he's going to debate President Trump. Well, I suggest let's remind him of that constantly.
I shouldn't say it. I'm going to say something I probably shouldn't say. Anyway, I am very willing to let the American public judge my physical and mental my physical as well as my mental fitness, and to make a judgment about who I am.
Okay, stop. Wait.
As I joke with him, I shouldn't say it. I'm going to say something I probably shouldn't say. Anyway, I am very willing to let the American public judge my physical and mental my physical as well as my mental fitness, and to make a judgment about who I am.
Yeah. Okay, I said probably 2 or 3 months ago, I thought it's unfair to poke fun at Joe Biden because, to me, having seen dementia patients before and having to evaluate them, this gentleman, it's really sad for him. He is clearly addled, and yet he is placed in the public venue. I know his handlers are doing this. Obviously, I blame them, but even more than that, I blame Jill Biden, his wife, for not taking care of him and still insisting that he be in public. Because whatever it means to Joe, apparently it means every bit as much to Jill Biden as well. Think about this for just a moment. If your wife, if your husband were in this state, would you trot them out on Main Street weekly for people to watch the cognitive disillusion of your wife or your husband? Because it's happening at an exponential rate right before our eyes. So my initial take on this was, I feel sad for him. I feel sad for Joe Biden. And his handlers and his wife can go to hell for doing what they're doing to Joe Biden. But because they're not relenting, the Democrats are not relenting, and his handlers are not relenting, Joe Biden is not relenting, they're insisting on putting him out on Front Street. Okay. Now he's fair game. Initially, it was, I don't believe he's present and accounted for. But if you're going to continue this ridiculous crap, okay, then what you're saying to me that I translate, because I speak leftist, is you're putting him on Front Street, so that means he's open to whatever shot people are going to take. Because that's the way of politics now. Politics is war. Politics is anarchy. Politics is nihilism. Politics is violence. Like I said, this article from Byron York and an enclave of Democrats and how they've war-gamed this, when I read this article to you, you'll understand. Okay. Let's put this on. Yeah, people have asked, are the phones open? Well, there's a phone. There's a number. You can call that one. You can call 208-4481. If you're watching on YouTube and or Facebook, now that number is at the bottom on a little scroll, on a little ribbon, and you can call that number, 575-208-4481. And again, thanks for watching on Facebook Live. Thanks for watching on YouTube. And if you want to be in the chat room, go to shrmedia.com in the chat room, shrmedia.com. And the reason I say that is because I can't interact with you on Facebook. I'm watching Facebook chat. I'm saying hello to people who come in when I see you, but I cannot interact because I'm on Facebook suspension until the end of the month. So if I'm not responding to you in Facebook chat, please understand why. You can't make this stuff up. You really can't. We've got breaking news coming up, and we've also got somebody who is calling in. Caller, go ahead. You are on, and what do you have to say, ma'am or sir?
How you doing, BZ?
Mike, how are you? Good to see you. Good to hear you.
You know, you're right. I mean, my mom has got somewhat dementia and all that stuff, and she sees things I don't care and hears things I don't care and all that stuff. And look, here's the deal, and I don't know if you pay attention to Dan Bongino, but he's talked about this several times on his little podcast, you know, and it's like, okay, dementia is there, and there are tricks that he does that if you listen to Joe Biden as he's talking, there are tricks that he does to get himself back on track. When he's talking to people, he'll say, "Oh, it's the thing," you know, that type of stuff. And at some point, that does get him back on track. But it would be poor choice. I mean, you started out by saying, BZ, that he's already said that he'd do a debate, whereas earlier on they were talking about, and it was coming from the Democrats and his handlers, that he wasn't going to do a debate. So we're getting two different things from Joe Biden right now. Now, granted, it'd be an idiotic thing for them to let him do a debate because of his dementia and his mental acuity, his faculties just aren't there.
No, they're not.
I mean, you know, it's like he's talking about this test that you know that he wants to take because Trump said he wouldn't or he would take it. You know, and that's the thing. If he takes that test, then it's going to be made more obvious that his faculties aren't there. You know, I mean, and it's going to be even more obvious if he's allowed to do a debate with Trump.
The only time I see Dan Bongino, I don't have the opportunity to watch him during the day or listen to his podcast. But generally, you can rest assured that before I get here, I have the ability to see, generally but not always, I'll watch Tucker Carlson or Hannity, at least a portion of Hannity, before I have to jump in the car and actually drive here. This is an actual studio, and it takes me about a half hour to get here. I mean, if I had a studio in my house, I'd maybe consider a daily or a 1 hour nightly show every day of the week. But driving a half hour to get here, no, that's not going to happen. In any event, I don't believe that they can afford to let him out. They cannot afford to have him go one-on-one with an individual with a rapier-like wit like Donald Trump and have him look the way people fear he is. Now, tonight I did, however, as you indicate, listen to Dan Bongino speaking to Hannity, who said that his information is such that the Democrats they're beside themselves. They can't let him out to speak look at what happened today. In other words, you can't get 60 seconds of cogent speech from Joe Biden. And it's not a matter of he's feeble. It's not a matter of he can't stand at a podium for an hour or 2 hours for a debate. It's a matter of his mind is not in a proper frame to be able to address anything that Donald Trump is going to be able to throw at him. Donald Trump would throw everything but the kitchen sink. You know it, and I know it. So they cannot, though I would love to do it, they cannot, and they will make every excuse in the book. We still have, what do we have? 89 days before the election. So right around 3 months. In 3 months, you and I both know, everybody listening knows that a ton of stuff can occur in that amount of time. And in the past, the best predictor of future behavior is past performance or the lack thereof. So everybody knows that shit can change around here day by day. So the closer, however, that it comes to November 3rd and the closer that it comes to a debate, I think they've agreed the first one is, they want one in September because people are going to start throwing in ballots in September, late September, I believe. And the debate committee, I can't remember the official name for the debate committee, has said essentially, no, we're not going to give in. We're not going to allow there to be a fourth debate. There'll just be 3. And, it'll start probably sometime in October. The closer it gets to October, late September or October, you will find, and I'm sure, Mike, you believe, that they'll discover some kind of a critical reason why Biden can't go there. Now, they've given all these lame excuses to, well, Trump is just going to lie. Okay. What politician doesn't? But okay, if he lies, you call his ass on it. You be prepared with facts and figures ready to go about this. The only way that I see anyone remotely allowing Biden to go into a debate is with an assload of notes, like a book size series of notes, like James Clavell's Shogun. I don't know if you guys remember when Shogun was first issued in hardback. It was over 1,000 pages, and it came in 2 volumes. Because I have a copy of Shogun in hardback. His notes will look like Shogun, which is actually a very good book, by the way.
There was I'll put it to you this way, BZ. There was a made-for-TV movie that was meant to be a sequel to Get Smart. And it was called like Get Smart Again or something like that. Okay. The TV show Get Smart. And one of the jokes in that movie was Maxwell was fighting the bad guy, and he was trying to stab him, and he picked up a copy of War and Peace, and he had the guy stab the knife in the War and Peace, and the joke was nobody gets through War and Peace.
True.
You know?
Yeah.
That was the joke. Now this, if you're talking that type of encyclopedic things for every possible thing that Trump could throw at him, you know, that type of encyclopedic book, that's not going to be hard to miss on a stand. Now, could they sit there and have somebody in his ear with a little earpiece and?
It's funny you should mention that, Mike, because this is why I have some of the... Let's see, what do I have? I got 1 more minute before the bottom of the hour break. This is why I have some of the smartest listeners and people in the chat room, because of what you just said. And also, Jack in chat said it won't be a debate, it'll be a political execution. Jack also said, or with an earwig receiver for prompting. And Alaskan said, you know, who was it that was caught with an earpiece in a debate? Wasn't it Hillary Clinton that people are alleging that there's a photograph of her somewhere with an earpiece supposedly receiving information. I seem to recall that. But in any event, Alaskans said, okay, well, even if they do decide that they're going to go with the earpiece, can you imagine the hilarity that would naturally ensue? Yeah, Jack says it was Hillary. Folks, can you imagine the hilarity that would ensue as Joe Biden attempts to process what Donald Trump has just said and compare and contrast it to whatever the person is that's speaking to him in his earpiece? Oh, my God, the hilarity that would ensue from that. Folks, I got to take a break. We'll be right back. Thanks for calling in, Mike. The number is open, and you too can call 575-208-4481. And if you're watching in YouTube video or you're watching in Facebook, the number is down below on the little chyron, the moving chyron down below, 575-208-4481. I'm BZ. You're in the saloon, and we'll be right back after this.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes a show designed to piss off liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, the Lid himself, Jeff Dunitz. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunitz.
For 50 years, I've seen the American people blinded by corrupt politicians, a lapdog media, and deceptive Islam. The one thing the elites fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through Spreaker, iTunes, and SoundCloud, through SHR Media and the Western Free Radio Network, for half a century of experienced perspective on political and social issues, weekly on The Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender, ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
This is Shannon Wright of The Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM. Mike's not here, so I gotta talk fast. You gotta join us. Fall season. Getting ready to start up with a whole bunch of new stuff. News and food and politics and sports and entertainment and a whole bunch of stuff. But wait, Mike's coming. I gotta go. Remember, Shannon and Mike in the AM on SHR Media, Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. Make sure you tune in.
Featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American maggots won't. BZ is fundamentally changing America, one diaper at a time. Just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, where the speech is free, but the drinks are not. The bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night, commencing at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, where pushback is a requisite art form in and of itself. Let your ossicles be truly liberated when you listen to the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon, only on SHR Media Network. No ferrets were harmed in the making of this ad.
Join me, Jack Alexander, for the Jack Alexander Experiment podcast, as I take a unique outsider's look at the issues affecting the USA. I fearlessly take on the issues that everyone else is too scared to touch. The Jack Alexander Experiment podcast is available wherever good podcasts can be found, like Spreaker, iHeartRadio, and Google Podcast. The Jack Alexander Experiment, because it's not a matter of left versus right, it's a matter of right versus wrong.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
Featuring the effervescent contrarian sackheads Clint, plus the unrestrained bulbosity of BZ, the Sackheads Against Tyranny is a real chat show. Doubling your late-night conservative talk show pleasure with double the hosts, you can listen every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. Please note, some contents may have settled during shipping. Member FDIC, batteries not included, warranty void in Montenegro.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. And I am glad that you are here. It is Thursday night. It's August 6th. Year of our Lord 2020. Next week on Tuesday, I'm going to be having Jeff Dunitz back in the Saloon. I have allegedly a very special guest that I'm trying to get for next Thursday night. And then the Thursday night after that, I've got author Terrence McCauley coming back, and he's going to talk about his thriller novels. And the interesting thing about Terrence, this will be, I think, the 6th time I've had him on. He went from writing thriller novels, just because he enjoyed doing it, to writing Westerns. Well, the interesting thing is now, it seems he's having a lot more success writing Westerns than he did having thriller novels. He's already gotten some awards from writing his suspense novels. But now I don't know if you guys read Westerns, but this author named Ralph Compton is pretty big in the Western genre. And now he's going to help co-write some books with Ralph Compton, which is a pretty big accomplishment. Welcome to Claudia. Claudia just jumped into Facebook chat. Glad to see you there. Josh just jumped into SHR chat. Sergeant Booker in SHR chat, Jack Alexander in SHR chat, the Alaskan in SHR chat, and Mike Pasqua, who called in the half hour prior to this. And because I promised this, and I didn't get any feedback last time, but I'm going to start this as a standard department staple, and you guys tell me if you like this.
The Bloviating Zeppelins, HeyJackass.com Chicago Death Toll Update. Courtesy of Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot.
Hey kids, if you want to find out just how terrible Chicago is, go to HeyJackass.com. And here's the death toll and shooting update from the great leftist-managed city of Chicago. Shot and killed. Now, these are final July totals. It's a brand new month, brand new day. Shot and killed in July, 96. Shot and wounded, 496. Total shot, 592. Total homicides just in July, 107. Week in progress, August 2nd through August 8th. Shot and killed, 3. Shot and wounded, 25. Total shot, 28. Total homicides, 3. Year to date, here we go, kittens. This is the gooder. Shot and killed, 417. Shot and wounded, 1,942. Total shot, 2,359. Total homicides to date, 456. I can't help but wonder, pretty soon,
I believe that this nation
isn't Chicago going to start to run out of people to shoot? I mean, you're really going to have to seriously start to look for people. 2,000 plus people shot. I mean, you're going to have to start going into other neighborhoods. You're going to have to work harder. Or maybe you're not going to have to. I told you this is the best of the rest. Let's start to get into some news, shall we?
4, 3, 2, 1.
I will build a great, great wall.
Stand by for news.
Here's some great news. The Attorney General of New York State said that the NRA's nonprofit status is in the crosshairs of her, Attorney General James, amid allegations of multi-million-dollar fraud. Now, you knew there were some issues at the NRA, but because you and I know timing is everything, State Attorney General Letitia James, I should preface with this. New York State Attorney General Letitia James, that should tell you most everything you need to know right there, is also the individual that called the NRA a terrorist organization. Now, the Democrats won't call Antifa a terrorist organization, but an organization designed to uphold the rights of persons regarding the Second Amendment. That's a terrorist organization. So she filed the lawsuit today seeking to dissolve the NRA, which is obviously the nation's biggest pro-gun lobbying group, saying that senior leadership, and she named Wayne LaPierre, at the registered nonprofit, illegally used tens of millions of NRA dollars for multiple vacations, private jets, expensive meals, and other luxury items. But as I've said before, Eric, welcome to Eric in Facebook chat. As I've said before, what is 2020? Oh, that's right. It's an election year. And in election years, remember, it's all about the politics. In an election year, it's always all about the politics. Now, why would New York think like a politician, think like a leftist politician? Why would New York go after the NRA now, considering this timing? And the answer is, what happened in 2016? Oh, that's right. The NRA played a rather significant role in getting OMB elected. That's why this is occurring now. Also, you want to know how your country is being changed from within? There's the old adage that civilizations are destroyed primarily from within, look at Rome, rather than without. And I'll have a series of about 2 or 3 stories indicating, yeah, this is happening right now. This is the kind of stuff that I've wanted to get to for quite some time. From 5 Chicago area leaders, see how Chicago leads in being stupid? Chicago area leaders call for Illinois to just abolish history classes. When things don't go your way, why should you teach history at all? Wait a minute, if I had a producer, this is what you would have heard. When history doesn't go your way, why teach history at all? Yeah, but I don't have a producer, so that's not what you heard. Leaders in education, politics, and other areas gathered in suburban Evanston Sunday to ask that the Illinois State Board of Education change the history curriculum at schools statewide and temporarily halt instruction until an alternative is decided upon. At a news conference, State Representative LaShawn K. Ford said current history teachings lead to a racist society and overlook the contributions of women and minorities. Do you think there's one history book in any public classroom right now that doesn't conform to what leftists want right now? This guy is full of bullshit. Welcome to Simone. Good to see you here. Simone just checked in. And in Facebook chat, I still have Josh and Claudia Cheek and Eric. Then this, Rutgers, this is from the Washington Free Beacon, Rutgers declares grammar is racist. The English department pledges to incorporate critical grammar into its program. If you can't destroy from without, destroy from within. The English department at a public university declared that proper English grammar is racist. Rutgers University English department will change its standards of English instruction in an effort to, quote, stand with and respond to the Black Lives Matter movement. In an email written by department chairwoman Rebecca Walkowitz, the graduate writing program will emphasize social justice and critical grammar. She said the department would respond to recent events with workshops on social justice and writing, increasing focus on graduate student life, and incorporating critical grammar into our pedagogy. Destroying America from within. Oh, speaking of destroying America from within, if you can't work things your way because you're an authoritarian, what do you do if you're in a leftist city? That's right, double down on authoritarianism. Here's a story from Los Angeles. This is courtesy of CBS News and Mayor Gil Garcetti. Los Angeles to shut off water and power to homes hosting large parties or gatherings. The statistics are not proving it, but still, if you dare to not do as I say, not as I do, but do as I say, Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti said on Wednesday that he's authorizing the city to shut off utility services to properties where large parties and gatherings are held. CBS Los Angeles reports Garcetti said, starting Friday, the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power is going to cut water and power service in egregious cases where unpermitted large parties and gatherings take place. Stop. By the way, if you've been watching the news, you'll find that the illustration of the reason that Garcetti wanted to instigate this is because of a large party that was captured on camera from a helicopter, a news helicopter. Who was going to that party? Did anyone pay any attention to that? Just as Joe Biden said this rather racist thing, be careful, Eric Garcetti, Gil Garcetti, Mayor Garcetti, Eric Garcetti. Be careful, because that massive party that made you want to create this edict was packed with Black Americans in Los Angeles. He was eyeballing that party. Can you imagine, folks, the kerfuffle that may result if white Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti deigns to turn off the water and power to a large party attended by leftist Black Americans in the city of Los Angeles? I tell you what, I don't think I can wait for that one. How wonderful that would be. Speaking of California, this just in, deet. This is from SACB.com. I used to, in a galaxy, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, I used to work for the McClatchy organization. In the 70s, I worked for KFBK, that's McClatchy, and then I also did some work for KOVR TV. That, at the time, was under McClatchy as well. And the Sacramento Bee, I was a stringer for the Sacramento Bee and got paid for photographs into the Bee. This is from SacB.com. Now, the Sacramento Bee in California, in Sacramento, because you're in leftist central. This is the locus of evil on the entire left coast. The Sacramento Bee they say they have an opinion page, but they don't really need an opinion page because every story that they publish is an opinion piece smattered with maybe a fact or two, but there's no guarantee of that. This is from SacB.com. And it's like, whoa, dude, I didn't see this coming at all. California COVID-19 data glitch interferes with contact tracing. School reopening waivers. Now, BC, what do you mean by that? Do you remember that The Los Angeles Unified School District teachers said they're not going back to work unless they defund the police and everybody gets a $15 an hour minimum wage and a whole bunch of other stupid crap like that. So, proving it's not about kids. It's about putting money in our wallets, and it's also about social justice, defunding the police. No police in schools either. Oh, that was part of the action, too. Now, this is interesting because, conveniently speaking, if you still believe in coincidence in the year 2020, how foolish of you. A major COVID-19 data glitch in California means counties don't know how many residents have tested positive in recent days, suddenly making it hard to gauge their success in battling the coronavirus. Okay. Well, do BZ's logical extension. The logical extension from that is the computer problem, which is blocking case data from getting to the state and to counties, is inhibiting local officials from tracking infection spread and could stall Governor Gavin Newsom's plan to let some elementary schools reopen. Stop. Did you ever think for a moment that California was going to allow its public schools to open in the fall? If you did, I feel sorry for you, because that wasn't going to happen. So this is another thing that's occurring. Also, now we have Governor Garcetti, who's going to shut off water and power because some people are having fun and having parties. Damn them. We're going to screw you over. Why should that stop in Los Angeles? Shouldn't that also be extended into New York City? New York City? Yeah, New York City, because what beats authoritarianism like more authoritarianism? Yeah. New York is going to set up checkpoints into the city to check out-of-state travelers to make sure they're following quarantine rules. The New York City Sheriff's Office is in charge of the quarantine checkpoints at major bridges and tunnels into the city. Stop. Oh, Mayor Warren Wilhelm announced on Wednesday morning. Mayor Warren Wilhelm was a leftist born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He's a communist. He loves Nicaragua. He loves communism. He married in 1994, honeymooned in Cuba. He's very proud of his Marxist work. In 2001, he changed his name from Warren Wilhelm Jr. because it's too Teutonic. It sounds too German, and you can't have a German name if you're going to be a leftist. He changed his name in 2001 to Bill de Blasio because it sounds like a name of the man of the people. So, Bill de Blasio has decided that if you're going to go into New York City, you're going to have to be quarantined. So, two things. Number one, we all know that New York City has one of the most efficient transportation systems in and out of the city, and never is a traffic jam heard or said. Can you imagine the people that are going to be trying to get into New York City when all these points of all these choke points into New York City are going to be choked even further. And if you think the locals are pissed off now, I can't wait. I can't wait. Then, if you're a tourist and you're stupid enough to go into New York City, well, damn you for being stupid enough and not listening to the news and not understanding that this is occurring. But let's see. We'll piss off the locals. We'll choke everybody at various choke points coming into the city. We'll throw people into quarantine. He's already said that fines will be up to $10,000 and jail time, though he's letting everybody else out of jail. No bail, no bond. Well, guaranteed. If you're found in violation of that, yeah, you'll have to pay a bail. There will be a bail. Guaranteed. I can't wait for this stuff to go. New Yorkers are going to be so pissed. Absolutely so pissed. Now, I can go two directions right now. I'm going to do happy stories. But I told you that I had an article by Byron York that I'm going to read. This has to do with Biden and the campaign. Alaskan says fear porn, yeah. Josh, he says, it's funny. A day after our commie mayor put a state of emergency in and shut down bars because the hospital had 105 COVID patients in it. Out of 602 beds, those patients dropped to 81. Josh also writes in SHR chat, we had 66 deaths out of 200 plus K people in the county, and the hospital takes patients from 11 others. So, Josh, maybe you could tell me what city you're in, because I find that very interesting. And as you're doing that, here's an article from Byron York. Byron York is one of the few journalists left in journalism itself. There are some others. John Solomon, Sarah Carter, Susan Katz-Keating, and there are some others that are still actual journalists. Well, Byron York, okay, Josh says he's in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Okay, well, I think we can probably take that situation, don't you, Josh? Take that situation and apply it to most every damn other city. Because I am still writing, and I will still have an extensive special report coming on a coronavirus update. Have you noticed that I really haven't addressed much about coronavirus? I'm saving so much good stuff for the special report. Stuff I guarantee you have not read, you have not heard, audio cuts, just like this. Now, this is from Byron York, his daily memo. He writes, maybe it's Democrats who are not going to accept the election loss. For weeks, there have been news reports and commentary on whether President Trump will accept the results of November's election. The president started it on July 19th when he said, I have to see. No, I'm not going to say just yes. I'm not going to say no. And I didn't last time either. Then came the headlines. Trump declines to say whether he will accept November election. Trump won't commit to accepting result if he loses election. Trump not ready to commit to election results if he loses. But Byron York writes, there's another equally pressing question. Are Democrats going to accept the results of the election if Joe Biden loses? A new report says the answer could be no. The report comes from a secretive group called TIP, the Transition Integrity Project. Remember, this is also BZ's axiom. In an election, two of them, most recent, obviously in an election year, everything is about the election. Everything is about the election. And the second is, whatever the Democrats are accusing you of, they're doing themselves, RTFN. A report comes from a secretive group called the Transition Integrity Project, TIP, a bipartisan anti-Trump organization. TIP was created last year by professors and policy types, quote, out of concern the Trump administration may seek to manipulate, ignore, undermine, or disrupt the 2020 presidential election and transition process. So in June, Byron York writes, TIP organized a meeting of 100 former government officials, political operatives, journalists, activists, national security experts, and others. A few participants, like, these names will seem familiar to you. John Podesta, Donna Brazile, Jennifer Granholm, Bill Kristol, Max Boot, and other anti-Trumpers. Purpose was to wargame 2020 election scenarios. What would happen if results were contested or not known for weeks after Election Day? The results were published in a new report. Now, I should tell you, if you aren't already aware, California being one of them, there are some states, like California, that say their votes are going to be counted. You can still vote up to 17 days after the election. What the fuck? But just be aware, that stuff exists. It's already out there. So, TIP war games this stuff. And Byron York writes, They worked through 4 election scenarios. Number 1, a clear Biden victory. Number 2, a narrow Biden victory. Number 3, a murky result. Number 4, a clear Trump victory. Now, in the clear Biden victory scenario, Trump originally alleged voter fraud but spent the transition tending to his private business and pardoning his family. Short version, Trump lost and left the office. Biden was inaugurated January 20th, 2021. Now, in the narrow Biden victory scenario, Trump did not concede. He challenged the legitimacy of mail-in ballots. Biden organized massive, sometimes violent, street protests. Biden's electoral victory was certified, but Trump, quote, refused to leave the White House. The president spent his final days burning incriminating evidence and planning for new network, Trump TV. But then on Inauguration Day, he left the White House, possibly escorted by the Secret Service. The report is not clear on that. Bottom line, Trump lost and left the office. Biden was inaugurated January 20th, 2021. Now, have you noticed, by the way, that though this is a secret project, have you noticed that on CNN, MSNBC, and all the other leftist networks, now the talking points involve, well, Trump's not going to leave. Where did that come from? This report from TIP. Byron York writes, in the murky scenario, the election count comes down to Michigan. But then a rogue individual destroys ballots that might have been for Biden. Trump has a narrow win in the Electoral College, but Biden does not accept the result and convinces the Democrat governor of Michigan to reject the state's legislature and send pro-Biden electors to Washington. Neither side concedes, and there is no clear president on January 20th, 2021. This is the Democrats. They're wargaming this stuff. In the clear Trump victory scenario, Trump lost the popular vote, as he did in 2016, but won the Electoral College. Biden at first conceded, but then withdrew his concession as Democrat anger grew over another election in which the popular vote winner did not win the White House. The Biden campaign pressured Democrat governors of states Trump won to reject Trump electors and send Biden electors to Washington. The Democrat House refused to recognize Trump's victory. Biden made wild demands in exchange for conceding, like D.C. and Puerto Rico statehood and the creation of more senators from California. Inauguration Day arrived and the standoff remained unresolved. The report noted it was unclear what the military would do in this situation. These are the Democrats wargaming these scenarios. Byron York writes, in only one of the scenarios did a candidate win a clear victory and the opposing candidate refused to accept the result. And the loser who refused to accept the result in Democrat wargaming was Joe Biden, not Donald Trump. That's precisely the opposite of the Trump won't accept results speculation that has dominated the media in recent weeks. That's why you've heard all the Democrats getting in front of CNN, etc., and going, Trump won't leave the White House, from TIP. From their wargaming, secret wargaming, that I wasn't apparently supposed to tell you about. Democrats gave various reasons for their refusal, but basically said it was out of the utmost importance to them to prevent a second Trump term. Duh. So important they would deny a clear and legitimate Trump victory. Remember that the next time you hear someone alleging that Trump will not accept the election results. And now you know where that came from. And now you know why they don't want you to know. And now you know that's their scenario of what it is leftists and Democrats will do. Thank you.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Southern Sense is conservative talk with Annie, the radio chick you bellows as host, and C.S. Bennett co-host. Informative, fun, irreverent, and politically incorrect. You never know where they'll go, but you'll love the journey. Annie is a top conservative host on Top Talk Radio and features some of the finest guests packed with important politicians and newsmakers. Listen every Friday, 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern, noon to 3 Pacific, on the SHR Media Network. Remember, Southern Sense is common sense.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes a show designed to piss off liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York. The Lid himself, Jeff Dunnett. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunnett.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Good evening. Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show is featured on the SHR Media Network every Tuesday and Thursday night for 2 hours at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific. Whilst manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, BZ continues to radically change the world of leftists, one diaper at a time. Stop balancing your checkbooks. Stop cleaning your fish tanks. The bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show is your magnet for truth, justice, obesity, a darkened studio, and late-night freedom. No United States of America freedoms were abridged in the making of this ad.
This is Shannon Wright.
And this is Michael Wright.
Reminding you to listen
to The Right Way with Shannon and Mike.
Every Monday through Thursday.
7 to 9 a.m.
Right here on SHRmedia.com.
Join me, Jack Alexander, for the Jack Alexander Experiment podcast, as I take a unique outsider's look at the issues affecting the USA. I fearlessly take on the issues that everyone else is too scared to touch. The Jack Alexander Experiment podcast is available wherever good podcasts can be found, like Spreaker, iHeartRadio, and Google Podcast. The Jack Alexander Experiment, because it's not a matter of left versus right, it's a matter of right versus wrong.
After 6 years covering terror and corruption, the unpleasant blind guy is making a change. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker and YouTube through SHR Media and on the Western Free Radio Network as I team up with Jeff Mitchell, host of the English Defense League radio show on blogtalkradio.com. Check show pages for airtimes. It's the Unpleasant Blind Guy.
On EDL Radio.
There's
no surrender, ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
Featuring the effervescent contrarian sackheads Clint plus the unrestrained bulbosity of BZ, the Sackheads Against Tyranny is a real chat show. Doubling your late-night conservative talk show pleasure with double the hosts, you can listen every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. Please note, some contents may have settled during shipping. Member FDIC, batteries not included, warranty void in Montenegro.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
It's hour 2. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I'm back, he's back, we're back, they're back, he, she, and it are back, and Sackhead Sean is back.
Howdy.
There he is, one each, Sackhead Sean for the second hour.
Live and in person.
Live and in person, right here, kids.
It could have been on the phone from the other room, but I figured that was just a waste.
I know. Yeah, that's true. By the way, speaking of phones,
yes,
if you're on Facebook, you can become a member of the USGOA, the U.S. Gun Owners Association. See that smooth,
nice plug,
smooth transition right there that I made?
Nice.
You can go to the USGOA, the U.S. Gun Owners Association, because trust me, November 3rd, especially November 4th, OMFG, are your Second Amendment rights and First Amendment rights going to go down the toilet? They're going to go down the toilet. The toilet, they're going to go something like very down.
I don't think so.
I mean, we didn't see this coming, did you?
I don't think so. Look, I know they're setting it up right now. I know they're... did you talk about New York and the district attorney yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, there we go.
There you go.
I can fix
that's
me.
better.
So, like I said, I want every single person listening to my voice right now to vote.
Oh.
Because it has to happen.
Hell yeah.
And I don't care if you're in a state where you're like, oh, Republicans don't take the state. Still go out and vote. Because what I want to see this election is a referendum and I want the popular vote, but I don't want it just by a little. I want it to be such an FU, both electoral and popular vote, that it changes the dynamic in politics in this country. I really do.
I said at the beginning, I made a prediction August 6th, 2020, at the beginning of the show, first half hour, I said, here's what I think is going to happen, because Americans generally are very, very tolerant.
Mm-hmm.
And
to a point.
When they get to that tipping point, then bad shit is going to happen. So I said, I believe Trump is going to win the Electoral College. It might be a squeaker, maybe, but he's going to take the Electoral College, and he is going to take the popular vote.
I think he's going to crush the popular vote and the Electoral College. I just don't see, other than California and maybe New York, and I think even New York, look, you have a lot of pissed off New Yorkers right now. De Blasio is not a fan, is not held in high regard by New Yorkers outside of the BLM people. For everything that happened in New York City. Well, that's the biggest voting base. It's like California with the 4 big cities. How go New York City? Essentially, how go all in New York? It's the biggest voting base. You have a lot of people, they're talking, June 2021 before restaurants are back to normal. He's talking about these checkpoints for COVID. He did nothing with the looters.
Talked about that in the first hour. How much is that going to piss off?
Yeah.
Business. Stopping people at these choke points that are already choked with traffic making it worse.
What happens if you work in the tri-state area? You work in New York, but you live in the tri-state area? You have to go through a checkpoint every day to go to work?
You're going to have to go through that every day. See, and people are going to get so tired of that crap fast.
For people that don't know New York City, you don't live in New York City. You do, but you don't.
Well, there's only enough.
It's a very small area-wise city. There's not a lot of housing. There's certainly not in comparative to the amount of people that come in and work in that city.
And it's really expensive.
So a lot of people live in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and they commute via the train, Connecticut, and upstate New York, and they come in. Now, the upstate New York people obviously won't have to stop, but so now you're looking at a giant pissed off, and where's Trump from? New York. He had a lot more fans in New York than people think. So even if it goes tits up for the Electoral College, I think the popular vote in New York is going to be much greater for Trump than anyone anticipated. Same thing in Chicago. I think Chicago, a lot of people with the violence that's going on, and you woke up the Italians in Chicago, which has a big Italian population, when they removed the Columbus statue. Seattle and Portland, there's reports all over the place. People are evacuating and leaving, moving out, done. See ya, gonzo, out. Those people are all going to vote.
Like I said in the first hour, if you're a tourist and you were thinking about coming to New York, you've also completely demolished any hopes whatsoever of getting outside dollars into New York City for all of these people that are damn near destitute. Plus, de Blasio last week said, didn't he, Sackhead Sean, that because he might not get federal dollars and he needs billions and billions,
22,000.
He's going to have to lay off 22,000 city employees.
That's
Warren Wilhelm, fuck you. Go for it. Lay them all off.
Yeah. And it's like everything else. All that is a scare tactic. He's not laying off cops. They're not adding any, but you're not laying them off.
Shh, they're talking about bringing back the plainclothes unit, only calling it something else.
Oh, how much you want to bet there's an emergency budget vote, say November 11th or 12th in New York City, to all of a sudden increase police funding? I guarantee you. Portland, Seattle,
under
same
happy
thing.
story. You bet. Under happy stories, I've got folks. Don't think I don't have happy stories coming up, because I do.
But all of that, I think, is on the agenda. This is all a giant smokescreen. And look, you look going into this election, and really, this is what all of this is about. George Floyd, like I hate to say it, but he was a puppet. They were waiting for a controversial incident between law enforcement,
all set up in advance.
And as soon as it happened, they ran. And they ran with it. And now you have Antifa. And the problem is, and I've said this before, I think the Democrats aren't in control of these people.
No. Funny you should mention that.
But
today,
they are trying to use them as useful idiots. The Democratic Party has, by and large, talked tough about being hard leftists, but when it comes time to vote, they aren't, because that's what comes back to bite them in the ass during the next election time. So, with the exception of the Squad and a few other ones who are pushing all of this. Well, the Squad and a few other ones are all on board with these Antifa assholes in the northwest of this country, but they're being funded by somebody other than Democrats outside the country because they want this country to fall. Democrats play right into their hands.
It's so much bigger than just the guy whose name nobody remembers anymore.
Right.
He was used like a bad wet Kotex and kicked aside.
Yeah.
So it's not about him. It's not about BLM.
Nope.
And I wrote today in, where was it, Twitter, I said, Democrats, be careful who you sleep with. There's no appeasing anarchists. And Antifa are white, racist, fascist anarchists. You cannot appease them, because one day, if they go for everybody else, and they are, they're going to turn their sight on you.
Well, and like I said, I think I said this last week, they don't have any intention of winning this election. I think
it's not about voting.
It's not about voting. It's not about the election. What they want is the chaos that will happen after Trump gets reelected. That's where their focus is. That's what all this buildup is, because, and Pelosi kind of said this too about removing him one way or the other, or he hasn't seen it coming or whatever. But what's going to happen is, if Trump wins, Antifa, BLM, all these other groups are going to absolutely riot. And if you think what you've seen in the last 3 months or 2 months is bad, wait until then, because it's going to be a lot worse. And that's what they want. They want to destabilize this country, and they want people to try to remove, not the president, remove our way of life. They want him to either declare martial law so they can try to organize a coup. They're trying to see which way the military go. You know why you can say that's not possible? I know people look, it's hard to imagine in this country, but how many other countries have been toppled time and again through coups?
Well, just because we
think political
dissidents, we're the United States,
we think we're
that this shit can't happen to us. You know, there's another continent just below us, and there are lots of countries there where this has occurred.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Middle East.
And so
South America,
from me,
Central America,
from me to you folks. And who did I tell this to? Mike Fitzpatrick. He and I were corresponding. He's been on here before. He's the cybersecurity expert that I have on here. He said, do you think things... Oh, by the way, Jeremy Hansen in Facebook chat, welcome. Good to see you. He said, do you think there's going to be violence?
Yes.
In November? And I said, yes. I wholeheartedly believe there's going to be violence.
I do too.
And it won't matter who wins.
Mm-hmm.
There will be violence if Biden wins, or there will be violence. Well, like you said, most deaf, there's going to be violence. If Trump wins, OMFG.
Why do you think that, and I said this before, why do you think the big push for Biden, when you had so many other people out there who honestly would have been better candidates? I don't like them as politicians, but as far as standing up and doing battle one-on-one against Trump, I think there are other people out there that would have done way better than Biden. Why did Biden get chosen? Because former VP, everybody knows him. He's kind of middle of the road-ish, right? Blah, blah, blah. You guys are so extreme you couldn't even elect Biden. That's going to be what they say. That's going to be how they word it. It's going to be, well, if you wouldn't take him, then we have to do something to change this. We have to put in our guy.
Well, knowing full well that Biden he's an empty suit now, literally. I talked about this again at the first hour, and he is he's there to be malleable. He's just going to do what he's told until his ability, his recognition deteriorates to the point where people say physically, we're going to pull him out.
I need to find, and go ahead and talk it up, because I have this sound clip from this comedian. It was actually on TikTok, of all places, which everyone can laugh at later. But, and he talks about Biden, and hold on, because I really want to find him, because it's freaking hysterical.
No laughing on TikTok.
But
be no laughing on TikTok.
But the sad part is, not only is he accurate, and I had this conversation with somebody today, it's getting to the point where I'm starting to feel bad for Biden, because you can see more and more that he should not be out there.
No, that's exactly what I addressed in the first hour.
Yeah.
Except I've kind of changed a little bit. 2 or 3 months ago, I said I feel really bad for Biden. I'm not going to make fun of him. And then I played that 60-second audio cut that occurred today, where basically he told the black dude that he ought to be checked for cocaine.
Yeah, but
that's not a racist statement or anything like that.
But the problem is it goes back to his mental faculties. They're not there.
No, they are not there.
Everybody around him who knows Joe Biden knows they're not there, and they're still pushing him. I think I said this on the air before, and if I haven't, I'm saying it now. I think they were hoping to get a solid year out of Biden, a solid year before he starts to say, oh, I'm tired, or I can't do this.
He's exponentially deteriorating.
And then his further left VP would step in. But as I watch him more and more, and I was kind of giving him shit at the beginning, now I legitimately just feel bad, because he is to the point where he is so mentally dilapidated and he can't control his outbursts. And when you call him on it, he gets angry.
The first go-to is anger now.
Which I'm almost positive is a sign of dementia.
That is a sign of dementia.
Okay, here's this guy here, and hold on, because I want to start it from the beginning.
Will we be able to hear it?
Yeah, I'm going to turn it up. It's from Bobby's Rants Factory. Hold on.
Hey,
and Joe Biden is behind him for the record.
Okay,
but hold on.
I just need one thing answered from everybody. Politics aside, you don't like Trump? Fuck him, put him to the side. We're not talking about that. This fucking guy behind me, old corn pop from Let Me Touch Your Shoulders University, this guy, you're not going to vote for this fucking guy, right? Because this can't happen. This guy has no idea where he is. I'm running for Senate in the United States. Motherfucker, you give this guy the nuclear football and we're going to have a whole new box of things to talk about with Dr. Finkelstein. This guy is fucking nuts. They call him Crazy Uncle Joe. And I used to like the way they rub my legs in the sun. I learned about cockroaches. I learned about... What the fuck is this guy talking about? If they put him on stage with Trump, it's over. This fucking guy, I can't believe it's elder abuse. No one has stepped in.
I agree.
His whole family's just going to let this guy ride it into the wall, huh? Old corn pop back there, that guy, huh? Well, let me touch you.
But it's true. I mean,
it is true, and it is elder abuse. I know people in various departments across the country who, for taking advantage of a guy like that, they would open a case.
Yes. Oh, yeah. And here's the deal, and I've said this before. The one who's most responsible is Jill Biden. Jill.
Oh,
because
again,
she's the one who's...
Were you listening? You must not have been listening the first hour, because I said my transition was the first couple of months I felt sorry for Joe Biden. And now, because they are insisting on keeping him out there on Front Street, I don't feel sorry for him anymore. I really don't. And as I wrote in chat right now, Jill Biden, being a doctor, she is despicable. She knows everything about what's going on with him and still refuses to pull him out.
Yeah, but she's not a medical doctor. I don't think she's a medical doctor.
I'm not sure.
I think she's like a historian doctor.
Okay.
I think she gets the Dr. Jill Biden
well,
thing.
Hey, anybody in chat, if you know what kind of a doctor Jill Biden is, not Joe Biden, Jill, Jill Biden, let us know in SHR Media chat. But despite that.
But even so, she's supposed to be his number one protector as
would
his wife.
you trot, as I said in the first hour, would you trot your husband or your wife out in public so that millions of people could hear how your husband or your wife is deteriorating on damn near a daily basis?
Yeah, and that's the thing is the fact that she's letting him go out there and she's not trying to protect him.
Alaskan says, Doctor of Education, thank you. You guys are smart. I knew you would know.
Yep. I just caught that too. But she is, you're supposed to protect your husband. You should be the one who, even if you have to lie to, look, you know your partner after 10, 20 years,
Jesus,
right?
How can you do this to him?
Yeah. It's pathetic. It really is.
Joe Biden, I know you're not listening, and I don't really care. What kind of a person are you, Joe Biden, that you would allow your husband to be demolished like this?
Yeah, and not that I was ever a Joe Biden fan, because I was never a Joe Biden fan, but as far as watching a human being deteriorate, and somebody who's led a public life, and everybody knows him, the tragedy he went through with his son, like
exactly. That's understandable.
As a human level, on a human level, you just look and you're just like, what are you doing? Why are you letting him do this? You should be making better choices for him. Like he should be at the old vice president's home playing golf and doing shuffleboard.
He should be back like what happened to. Remember the big kerfuffle about Reagan? Oh, Reagan is losing it. Oh, Reagan was cogent as bat fuck with regard to his latter days. He's much more together than Joe Biden. And Joe Biden hasn't even been installed in the White House yet.
He's not there making decisions yet.
Still a loon.
He can't
even
make it through
before
interviews.
He sits his ass down in the chair.
He can't make it through interviews from his basement being coached through his ear.
He can't. Oh, I said that again at the first hour. Some people in chat. Oh, Eric Curtis says, I made in Facebook chat, says, I made a custom sticker for my car last October. After his event, it said, Corn Pop was a bad dude.
Yeah.
I like that. Claudia Cheek says, let's keep that on the down low. We want Biden to be the Democrat nominee.
It's too late now.
Okay.
He is.
He is.
They're not going to go anywhere else now.
No.
They're, like you said, they're going to ride this into the wall.
He's their one-trick pony, period.
And, it's almost, and here's why it's elder abuse, because in his mind, he does not see the degradation of his mental abilities. And they said to him, Joe, we need you to run. We got to get rid of this guy. And in his mind, he's probably thinking he's doing the right thing.
He is doing the right thing.
And
Absolutely
he can't figure out why he goes and does interviews and people accuse him of things. And then he gets mad. He gets derogatory as hell. Everyone's calling, this is what kills me. Everyone who calls Trump an asshole for being blunt and maybe shooting from the hip. But when Biden does it...
He's been doing that for 2 months.
Yeah, when Biden...
The welder that he confronted?
Yeah. And when Biden does it, they call him like passionate or whatever. And he walks it back every time he... How many times has he had to walk back a statement in the last 4 months?
I wish...
I think he's up to like 10.
I'll find it for Tuesday night. I'm going to have Jeff Dunnitz on Tuesday night. I'm going to find, or I'm going to make a compilation of the best of Joe Biden. It's too good to pass up.
I remember years ago on Sackheads, we had a little segment called "What Would Joe Biden Do?" And then we had all of these different jokes about Joe Biden because Joe Biden was crazy and he would do stupid things, but he was mentally cognitive. I have a hard time even joking about him. I feel bad for him. Legitimately, as a human being, I feel bad for him.
I understand. I was there where you are. Now that they're keeping him in, as far as I'm concerned, gloves off.
See, I get that. I get you have to win the election. You have to point out what he does. What I'm saying is, as a human being, politics aside, I feel bad for him. He shouldn't be there. Politics are politics. Look, if this is who they're running,
absolutely,
that's their choice. It's a horrible choice, but that's their choice. And it's pathetic is what it is. And if this doesn't give you an insight into how the Democrats operate at any, it all justifies the means. Any end justifies whatever means they use to get there. There is no, like Michelle Obama said, you go high, we go low. They're going low.
Oh, hell. And that will be the route.
And they're going low, speaking of Michelle.
Big Mike.
They're going low in the sense that she came out today and said, Trump's presidency is giving me a form of depression.
Number one.
Now they're playing the emotion. Right, it's all bullshit. We know it's bullshit. Move on.
Number one, who gives a fuck?
I'm not even going to, who cares?
Yeah.
Right? But what is she doing?
It's the emotive
She's
card.
trying to play the emotions of those who haven't made up their mind. Michelle's, she's depressed because of Trump. Okay. Oh shit, we can't have that. Even if it gets him 1,000 votes, just 1,000. That statement, and this is how they operate. Any means necessary. Which is weird, because it's almost like there's a communist group out of called By Any Means Necessary.
BAMN, right? Yeah. That the Berkeley leftist governor or mayor is a member of.
Yeah.
Right.
And
that didn't have anything to do
and
with
Julian Castro was a member of, and all that other
down.
stuff. And it's an extremist group.
Yeah.
But it is By Any Means Necessary. And that's where they're going right now. And when they talk about like how they're for the people, or you look at the shitty tactics they'll use now and imagine if their own people turned on them. It's just gross and it's disgusting.
We had to take a break. I want to ask Sackhead Sean a question when we come back. This will be the final half hour. The show has gone by in a massive rush. And having said that, speaking of rush...
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes a show designed to piss off liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, the Lid himself, Jeff Dunitz. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunitz.
Hey, are you guys listening? This is Shannon from Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM on SHR Media. I know you've been wondering where we are and what's been going on. Well, folks, that's right. We're back. So please join us 7 to 9 a.m. Monday through Thursday on SHR Media, on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, and Spotify, and Facebook Live at 11 a.m. on Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM at Facebook. You don't want to miss a minute. We've got lots of guests, lots of segments, and lots of interesting things. And let's face it, there's nowhere for you to go, so you might as well tune in. Again, Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM. We're back live on the air on SHR Media, 7 to 9 a.m. Monday through Thursday, audio and Facebook Live, audio and video. Yes, we are going to do video. Facebook Live, Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM. Hope to see you soon.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capital, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern, only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
It is he that is me, bringing perspective from across the sea. Join me, Jack Alexander, 4 days a week for the Jack Alexander Experiment podcast, as I take a unique outsider's look at the news and issues affecting life and liberty here in the USA. I'll show you what the mainstream media refuses to. politics, border security, defence, healthcare, travel. Nothing is off limits. Catch the Jack Alexander Experiment podcast each Monday to Thursday on Facebook, YouTube, and everywhere good podcasts can be found. Also, check out the website www.jackalexanderexperiment.com.
Southern Sense is conservative talk with Annie, the radio chick you bellows as host, and C.S. Bennett co-host. Informative, fun, irreverent, and politically incorrect. You never know where they'll go, but you'll love the journey. Annie is a top conservative host on Top Talk Radio and features some of the finest guests packed with important politicians and newsmakers. Listen every Friday, 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern, noon to 3 Pacific, on the SHR Media Network. Remember, Southern Sense is common sense.
After 6 years covering terror and corruption, the Unpleasant Blind Guy is making a change. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker and YouTube through SHR Media and on the Western Free Radio Network as I team up with Jeff Mitchell, host of the English Defense League radio show on blogtalkradio.com. Check show pages for airtimes. It's the Unpleasant Blind Guy.
On EBL Radio.
There's
no surrender, ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And we are back. It is the final half hour of the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk, Bobcat, Saloon radio show. Where I'm broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California. If you're on Facebook like I'm not, Second Sean is smiling. You can go to the USGOA, the U.S. Gun Owners Association, for tactical stuff, evaluations, articles, and all sorts of cool stuff about the Second Amendment. USGOA on Facebook, U.S. Gun Owners Association. And we're back. We're nationwide. And because of that, I had something that I wanted to ask SHR Sean.
Yes.
And that is, we've heard a lot of people go back and forth. Folks seem to think that they have got Biden's VP down to 2. And folks are mentioning Susan Rice or Kamala Harris. Of those two, who do you think?
It won't be Susan Rice. Because politically, all Trump has to do is play her going on Sunday morning shows denying Benghazi over and over again. Done. Dunzo. There's nothing you can do. It destroys her whole credibility.
And that's why I was hoping it would be Susan Rice, because it would be so easy to shoot her ass down.
Yeah, but politically, if you're making that choice, she's a horrible choice. Horrible. I mean, don't get me wrong. Heels up is not a much better choice. Because of everything that can come out of her past, everything that she did to get the position she did, and the position she was in to get the position she did.
All the prosecutions she made, all the stuff that's conveniently wiped out of her Wikipedia site.
Never
Imagine
mind
that.
The sugar daddy in
Willie
San
Brown.
Francisco. Yep.
Yeah. Fucking Willie Brown while he's married.
Yeah, and so you have all of that. You have, and the other thing too is you have her shitting on Biden during one of the debates about essentially not liking black people.
Oh, it's...
I don't remember what her exact quote was, but she shot him down about how he treats the African-American community.
Yeah, and now she's going to support him?
Yeah. So that is the ammunition that the Trump election campaign will use against her for that. And that's an easy one. It's her own words.
Yeah.
The worst thing you can do is use somebody's own words against them, and to show that, and that's exactly what they're saying is, hey, she's just a shill. literally, and how he picked it too. The other thing that they're going to bring out is when Biden said essentially like, kind of like Mitt Romney, I have a binder full of women. I have a binder full of women that I'm going to choose. And I believe at one point he even intimated that race went into his choice. So that destroys it too, because now you can turn around and say, well, you're not picking the most qualified candidate. You're picking the candidate that is getting you votes.
You're just going for melanin. What the hell?
Right. And does that mean she's really good? Why? Because she was a state senator and
an AG.
And an AG, and she has a horrible record as AG.
And a prosecutor in San Francisco who refused to prosecute a cop killer.
Yeah, there's just
refused to go for the death penalty on that. No problem.
There's just a lot for them to go against that's easy. I think it's going to be Kamala, only because she's younger and prettier. And I hate to say it, but all the sexists and feminazis can go nuts right now. She is a younger, prettier version of Susan Rice. Susan Rice is a little bit more old. She's been in the public spotlight. She wasn't exactly regarded very, very highly, and then everything that happened with Benghazi made it worse. But, again, what the Democrats do, they will dangle a pretty woman for votes.
Well, what is she?
That's why it won't be Elizabeth Warren.
Well, I'm Elizabeth Warren. She sounds like Marge, doesn't she,
like
on The Simpsons?
She looks like a gremlin.
Yeah.
You can hate on me all you want, but she does.
Well, Kamala Harris, though, is a twofer. She's a beautiful twofer.
Yeah.
For the Democrats.
Hey, look, all politics aside, Kamala Harris is a very pretty woman. Right? Until she opens her mouth about politics.
Yeah. Yeah, then she's... Well, the other thing is that a lot of people have said publicly and privately, she's about as inherently likable as a Western Diamondback Rattler.
Well, and knowing... I don't know.
Which is funny. That's how I typified Hillary Clinton.
I don't know if I really want my phone tapped right now, but I'll say this anyhow. I will say, having interactions with people who've worked in state government here and worked in departments that dealt with the AG's office a lot, there was some scandalous things that happened while she was Attorney General that got swept under the rug that would not shock me if it came back to light. Are
you thinking what I'm thinking?
No. I guarantee you won't know this.
Oh, okay. But I know how you will, though.
No. No.
Really?
This is a personal contact of nobody that you know. Well, and you may know them from outside dealings, but we don't know them through any commonality.
Huh. Okay. All right. You going to spill after?
Yeah. I'll tell you off the air.
Oh, okay. All right.
Legitimately, I have two people that I legitimately respect and protect a little bit on information that was given to me, but it would come to surface if she starts being vetted for VP. And there's a lot of...
So you're saying a certain somebody might drop a dime to somebody else?
I guarantee you, because the people that worked for her directly, that she oversaw directly, not as AG, but the departments that she as AG immediately had control over, were not fans of her.
Ooh, actually, I can't wait.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait.
Yeah. So it was...
you're saying it could be potentially very cool?
Yeah, if it ever came out, it would actually be pretty mind-boggling. And again, because I'm protecting these two individuals out of respect, I will not out it.
I get it.
And my phone's probably already tapped. I'm sure there's a Stingray device that's being set up somewhere.
What do I hear above the
there's a drone overhead.
circling above the studio right
Especially
now?
Especially because she's being vetted for VP, right? God. And all of a sudden there's going to be a Geraldo-like photo of me that gets leaked onto social media.
Look, it's Sean getting out of the shower.
Shower shirtless. Yep, here I am. I don't care.
You're just one big mat of hair.
Well,
look, women, if you want to go after Sackhead Sean, I can tell you that he has a luxurious thatch of hair everywhere.
Yeah.
If you thought...
Well, almost everywhere. Just not the top of my head.
Right.
From the eyebrows down, it grows like wildfire.
But exactly, it got pushed down out of the head and then sprouted everywhere else. So if you, for example, if Sackhead Sean expires, you could make a great bear rug out of him.
Well, I equate this to, this is how I describe myself. If you picture a natural haired sweater made out of somebody's hair, like one of those creepy things that you find in a serial killer's house,
yeah,
and put it on a manatee, you have Sackhead Sean.
Wow.
Yeah.
The manatee thing, that's new.
Yeah, that's just pretty much
That's
where I'm at.
nice. That's
And I am graceful in the water.
As soon as you said that,
just
I'm telling you, as soon as you said that, man, I got a visual out of that immediately.
A manatee wearing a human hair sweater.
That was brilliant.
Look, I'm graceful.
There's the flips right
I'm
there.
Graceful in the water. Graceful.
Okay, you wanted to say something about Wuhan 19.
Yeah. So the COVID, the whole thing that's going on with it. Let me ask you a question. Do you remember when they were trying to sell Obamacare to us? And one of the questions that got brought up is the death panels, right? And everyone said, well, wait a minute. You're going to start making decisions on people's health based on whether or not it's financially secure or whatever. No bureaucrat's going to make decisions like that, we were told, over and over and over again. And when Obamacare was passed,
until you got
and
to
it still
Ezekiel
exists.
Emanuel.
people forget it. Obamacare still exists. The rules with Obamacare are in place. The amount of pressure state governments, health departments increased with Obamacare. They had more control, more power over what doctors were doing or could do. So, hydroxychloroquine, which I saw a report say there's been like 15 independent studies done in the last 3 months from both Europe and America that have shown it to be effective in COVID patients. The Rona, as a lot of people call it.
Well, Zuckerberg just came out today or yesterday and said that anybody
the doctor
who's making any kind of a pro-hydroxychloroquine statement is going to be removed from Facebook.
Yeah, Dr. Zuckerberg.
Right, yeah, the good doc.
Yeah, thank God. All of his years in the ER. So anyhow, so you have hydroxychloroquine sitting there. There's another drug too. You told me about it earlier. I forget the name of it.
Remdesivir. $5,000 a jolt. No problem.
Right. Hydroxychloroquine's like 74 cents a pill.
Yeah.
Out the door.
Yeah. Working miraculously for quite some time, 40 plus years.
65. It's up to 65, still part of the FDA through all the changes when they keep checking new medicines. It has made the cut, still makes the cut. Why? Minimal side effects, maximum effectiveness against malaria and malaria-like symptoms, which are very much like, the Rona. They share a lot of commonalities in their illnesses. So, you now have states, and on some on a federal level, where they're saying, well, you can't give hydroxychloroquine.
Ohio.
Why? Well, and other states, too. There are doctors coming up on YouTube.
Nevada.
There are doctors all over the place coming up on YouTube saying, there was one in Arizona, a female. She said, I issued my patient a prescription for hydroxychloroquine. Yeah, we don't fill that. No. But I'm her doctor. You're not. You don't know if she doesn't have malaria.
Oh, I had a war.
You don't know if she doesn't have malaria. Maybe she just came back from the rainforest.
I had a war on Twitter with people who were representing themselves as pharmacists because I said the exact same thing. And all of them, to a man or a woman or whatever the hell they were, said something similar to, well, we know medications better than anybody else, and we should be the firewall as to who gets what. Fuck you.
Right.
You're not the prescribing physician. You don't know the patient.
Long and short, how many times have you ever gone to a pharmacy to pick up a prescription? The doctor goes, hey, or the pharmacist goes, hey, we need to call you doctor. This medicine is not good at treating you. Well, wait, I'm not on any other meds. It can't, I can understand if I'm on 20 other meds and this could cause a problem. Okay, it makes sense. No. You're here for one thing. You have bronchitis and you're here for Zithromax. We don't think you should get Zithromax.
Yeah,
so
no
we're not giving it
Z-Pack
to
for you, mister.
Wait a minute. Why? You're a pharmacist. I understand you have to know pills and what they may. Yeah, you're a doctor on a level.
And there's going to be a doctor-level pharmacist in every pharmacy. I get it.
Right. But that's not what's going on here. You can't supersede my doctor.
And they all wanted to, and I guarantee they're all leftists.
No.
It's all political.
Why? Because they go to these pharmacy meetings run by Big Pharma all over the country and get everything paid for.
Money.
Now, if you stick with me in my train of thought, If hydroxychloroquine starts being used regularly and it's as effective as it has been reported to have been, what happens to the need for the vaccines that are being produced right now that will be sold by the millions at probably $500 a piece, maybe more? Never mind the money that they got from the government to research these. All the testing for the Rona, all the testing devices that came out, what happens to those? All of those, coronavirus was a cash cow for pharmaceuticals. If hydrochloroquine is as effective as it is, it will ruin that cash cow. Why? Because then it becomes like a cold. Oh, yeah, I feel crappy a couple days. I got the Rona. We give you hydroxychloroquine. And for the next couple years, maybe everyone on the planet's taking it like a prophylactic. So, but they're not making a lot of money out of it, 74 cents a pill. And it's also generic because it's out of that.
Exactly.
So now
you cannot have an easy fix.
Yep. And I said this before. I hate sounding like I'm wearing a tinfoil hat. I know how crazy I can sound to the common person. Be like, come on, those people, because this country is generally good. People believe the best in other people in this country, by and large.
They want to.
So when you say that
but
a drug company
envelope,
a drug company is behind, and the other medicine Dr. Fauci has money in, but that's neither here nor there.
Oh, remdesivir.
If you turn around and you say that these pharmaceutical companies that are supposed to come up with this vaccine is the money that is pushing back on hydroxychloroquine, and the Democrats, why the Democrats? Because they want the economy to stay crashed going into the election to look worse for Trump. That's all this is.
Oh,
the Democrats' push for hydroxychloroquine is not the same as the pharmaceutical push. It's the same result. They both want the same thing, but for very different reasons. The pharmaceutical companies just want the money. The Democrats want the election. The economy's crashed. If they came out tomorrow and said hydroxychloroquine, everybody call your doctor, get your prescription, 2 pills a week will protect you, then the Democrats are screwed because Trump can open the economy and it will be a V-shaped economy. It will boom again. It was in too good a shape not to. People would go back to work. They would have to go back to work. It would change everything. What would be the worst thing in the world for the Democrats? Trump was in charge of this pandemic.
You can't get the economy back on its feet.
Well, and on top of it all, right, look at it. Come November 1st, if this was the case, Trump had this pandemic. A lot of the decisions he's made were right. He followed Dr. Fauci and all the other ones at the beginning. He was listening. He pushed hydroxychloroquine from the beginning because of the early results that came in. Nobody listened. He said it again. Nobody listened. Then they started making fun of him for it.
Yeah.
Oh, he's just an idiot, blah, blah, blah. Right? So now we're standing here November 1st. If the evidence proves true that hydroxychloroquine was right, he gets to stroll all over the place with that. Now you have an economy that has been slowly rising at the exact same time, and you're pinning that up against old Corn Pop and Kamala. It's a losing thing. And the Democrats who are in power right now, still, Nancy Pelosi is a useful idiot to these Antifa people because it's her job to try to win this election. It's all the Democratic politicians' job to win the election. Even though most of the hard-wing lefties want the loss, that way they can have the action after the election to try to stop him from being inaugurated.
Boy, do I have a question for you.
And here we are. And I hope I'm wrong. But I don't think I am. Go with your question.
First, an observation.
Yes.
Which is actually sort of a question. Wouldn't you love to have a sample of Dr. Fauci's blood, have it analyzed
to see if hydroxychloroquine,
and find that as a prophylactic, he's been taking hydroxychloroquine for months now?
Why? Let me ask you this. Common America out there, pay attention. Trump's personal physician has one of the top doctors in the country. It's a reason, right? You're the doctor for the president. His personal physician has him taking hydroxychloroquine as a prophylactic. Wow.
Yeah.
You don't just become the president's doctor because you had a practice in downtown San Diego. You get vetted. You get vetted pretty deeply. And
why isn't that Trump guy wearing a mask?
That's really weird. How many events has he been to where people have gotten sick, but he hasn't?
And he hasn't.
Yeah. You've had people on the staff get sick. He hasn't. Pence hasn't. Why? And I hope they're both taking it. I really do.
Hell yeah. I almost said the F word.
Yeah.
Hell yes. Oh, my God,
but
yes.
You look at that, and you look at how many people, regular people, can't get hydroxychloroquine. But the president can.
That's right, because we are little people. We're the proles.
Peons.
We're the serfs. We're the groundlings.
And I'll tell you exactly what it is because the president, his physician, doesn't send the script over to CVS, and they say no. Here you go, Mr. President. You go ahead and pick that up on Tuesday.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen that way.
No.
There's no firewall.
Yeah. There's just whatever the hell he wants.
Right.
Which you would want because he's the president.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Eric
their
Curtis
job.
in Facebook chat, thanks for the compliment. Jimmy Collins, thanks for watching in Facebook.
You got a compliment or I got a compliment?
There was a compliment.
Did I get it or you?
No, you did. You get a compliment. All right, you'll get a compliment.
No. You
You'll
said
get a
thanks
compliment.
for the compliment.
Yeah, to Eric. Eric gave a compliment.
To who?
Not you.
What did he say?
He said, I have a great face for radio.
Oh, you do have a great face for radio.
Thank you.
Was that so hard? I just want to know if I actually got a compliment.
No.
Well, figures.
Okay.
Not even for the sweater thing earlier?
Well, you're wearing a shirt. Isn't that a grunt style shirt?
Yeah, this is grunt style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great shirts, by the way.
Yeah,
that one looks like it's been washed like 20 times.
Oh, I've had this for a couple years now.
Yeah. Oh, in Facebook chat. Eric says, not the bald one. And the vast wasteland in the Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon.
Can you find the book in the bookends? Can you find the book in the bookends? It's okay. I don't mind being bald.
Vast wasteland.
Bald and virile. Eric, I'm bald. There's nothing I can do about it, baby.
Oh, God, now it's a double play in SHR chat room. Sergeant Booker says, Sean, you gave a great head of hair for radio.
Jesus.
It never stops.
You know, just once, I come here and pour my heart out to these people.
I know. And what do you get for it?
No, they're both right. I can't even argue.
I'm
like I
bold
said,
as hell.
eyebrows down, grows like wildfire.
Oh, yeah. I have more hair in my ears than I have on top of my head.
I want to shave you just to see what happens, your face and your beard.
Here's one thing I will admit to. I do have a vanity. When you get older, you're going to have eyebrows. If you're a guy, you're going to have eyebrows sooner or later like a Russian admiral. Okay, and didn't I give you a great visual of that? I mean, you know exactly what the hell I'm talking. Yeah. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Who was the guy that it was on 60 Minutes at the very end?
Yeah, I know.
That would have, Marty,
yeah, I know
anyway,
what you're talking about.
You know who I'm talking about because that guy had
Russian
eyebrows.
admiral.
He had eyebrows that were covering his damn forehead.
Yeah, they were in his comb over.
Oh, God,
They were part of the comb over.
Jesus.
He curled them back
I know.
over the ear and up over the head.
Yeah. Oh, I saw this Asian dude one time. And now it's time for comb-over talk.
Totally.
At the very end.
Totally random conversations.
Of the Berserk Bobcat Saloon. There was a guy that was working, an Asian dude, that was working at Bel Air. And I saw him on a windy day. Well, he had on just above one of his ears, that's where his part was. So he had somehow grown hair from that region sufficiently long that it curled up and over his head. Then he shellacked it to a point.
Yes.
Right? I mean, you could probably cut paper on the shellacking.
He had a wallpaper of hair that went from his ear down to his nipples that he'd push over the top and
then
grease down.
Rack, and then shellac all the, the hairspray.
Rattle can it into place.
Exactly. One day I saw him out in the parking lot in the wind. And that's when I discovered he had like long hair way past his nipples.
Every time I talk about something like this, first of all, I worked with a guy years ago who had the same type of thing, always wore his hat inside and out, and nobody could figure out why, except for one time his hat blew off, and it was just like this like weird... Have you ever seen the wacky arm guys in front of like auto dealerships?
Right, yeah.
It was like one of those arms was just flopping freely in the wind. But every time I hear about like baldness and wigs and all the other stuff, I always think of Bob Newhart's comedy from the 60s where he has to go return the wig that his wife got him for his birthday. And I just, if you haven't checked out that comedy, it's still on Google Play. I know I listened to it. It's still now. He happens to have been one of the funniest dry comedians you've ever heard. Guys like Stephen Wright and other dry comedians like pay homage to Bob Newhart. He was a brilliant comedian.
Oh, he was.
He still is. He's alive. But yeah, I look, guys, I know I'm bald. I appreciate you saying I'm the best bald looking guy on here.
You are without a doubt much better looking than me. That'll be the first thing that I will concede.
No, and you better, because it's 100% accurate. That's probably the most accurate thing you've said tonight, is that I'm better looking than you.
Oh, hell yeah. Hey, listen, no concession necessary whatsoever. I acknowledge truth from the very get-go. The guy at the end of 60 Minutes, it wasn't Morley Safer, was it?
That's what I was thinking of, was Morley Safer. I said Marty something. I thought it was like Marty Sawyer, but I think you're right. I think it's Morley. But either way,
yeah.
The Russian admiral was the best description.
Yeah, he's still dead. Well, you know what? When I say eyebrows like a Russian admiral, everybody here understands exactly what I mean.
I knew exactly what you're talking about. That's like saying more medals than a North Korean general.
Yeah.
You know, everyone knows. They've seen the jacket.
Right, exactly.
You know, that's my shoe tying pin.
That's right. And those definitely go down below his nipples as well. Okay, that was Nipple Talk by BZ and Admiral Eyebrow Talk for 2 hours. I'm going to have to go, but I'm going to be back next Tuesday with Jeff Dunitz. You had fun.
Yeah, I'm still here, aren't I?
Well.
And I'm sober tonight.
Hey, you're going to have to do something about that next time.
I'm going to bed.
Okay. Well, I'm going to bed, too. You guys going to bed?
Everyone's going to bed.
Everybody's going to bed. So, folks, thanks for being here tonight. Here's something weird. I was going to talk about Fort Knox tonight.
Uh-huh.
And then I had a whole bunch of stuff that I wanted to talk about in the first hour. I'll do Fort Knox a little bit later. Maybe next week. But, yeah, I had a great time. And thanks for being here, everybody, once again. My numbers are going up again. So thanks to everybody listening live, listening in Facebook, listening in YouTube. What? What are you going to say?
I was just thinking of a quote from Blazing Saddles when they're in the town hall meeting in the church, and he's like, Fort Fires, Fort Dix. Remember when George Dix came in here and tried to run us out of town? Like, it was just, I don't know why when you said Fort Knox, I thought Fort Dix.
Jack says he's not going to bed, but I know why Jack's not going to bed.
Yeah, it's like 1:30 in the afternoon there or some shit.
Let's see. I start at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, my time here on Pacific is 1 p.m. tomorrow in Australia.
Well, tell Jack he'll get an email earlier on tonight.
Oh, Jack. Okay, so if you're listening, Jack, if you're still, I see you're still in chat. So Sean is going to send you an email
tomorrow. But that's really yesterday.
Well, tomorrow is today with
Don't
Jack.
Don't do this to me. It's like a Spaceballs
it's
thing.
Only,
What's happening
it's only
now
10
is
o'clock.
now.
It's 10:02 right
what
now.
What happened to then?
It's not tomorrow.
When?
Today is Thursday.
Just now.
But Friday
when will
is
then
right now for
be
Jack.
Now? Soon.
2 more hours before tomorrow is today. Here.
When will then be now? Soon.
Well, that's why when I talk to Jack, I get tomorrow's news today.
Yeah.
Monsieur has unlocked!
Yeah! Folks, that's it for me. That's it for Sean. We call it That's It for the two of us. But you're not going to say anything? You're just...
Peace out, baby.
Okay.
Have a good week, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me on, BZ.
I'm going to have you on every...
I know. You'll harass me every week.
Every night until who knows when.
Between you and Demi.
Oh, yeah. You didn't... Where is she? I haven't seen her tonight.
She's probably out hunting.
Waiting to bring a rat for you.
Got one this morning.
Did you?
Yeah,
full. You lucky soul.
Yeah. She was pissed when I threw it away.
She loves you. That's proof. That cat. That's kitty love.
Yeah. Right before she murders me in my sleep.
Dare I say that's some mad pussy.
Dare you.
It is. Dare. It is. I dare. So, folks, have a great weekend. Andy Rooney. That's Sergeant Booker. Andy Rooney. That was the guy. Andy Rooney. All right. Have a great weekend, folks. See you later.
Everybody quiet down now and get some sleep.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Ben.
Good night, everyone. Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Good night, children. Good night, Daddy. Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.
What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing?
Good night,
Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, and good luck.